Hi, hello everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. I hope you are doing well. Let's talk about an album that I get a lot of questions about because it made it into the very last spot in my top 200 albums list of the 2010s. Of course, I am talking about Farrah Abraham's My Teenage Dream Ended. Now, Farrah Abraham, if you are unfamiliar, is a reality television star who was, rocketed into the public eye off of her appearances on the show 16 and Pregnant. And along with the release of that show, she decided to further capitalize off of the interest in her generally, her popularity, as it were, with the release of a book that essentially told her whole story, as well as an album that coincided with this whole thing too, My Teenage Dream Ended. Now, this record made it into my top 200 albums of the 2010s list, and the very last spot, very final spot of that list. And I get a lot of questions as to why. Why did I put this record here? Did I mean to put this record here? Is it totally genuine? Is it ironic for me to put this record here? Is it post-ironic, post-ironic? I will respond to this question here, since I haven't really spoken at length about this, and I will say, yes, in a way, it is a bit of a cheeky pick. It's a little cheeky. I'm not going to say it's ironic. It's cheeky. It's a cheeky choice. But with that being said, I do genuinely believe that My Teenage Dream Ended is an absolutely insane record that not only aesthetically maybe inadvertently pulls from some of the great works that were relevant around the time of its release, be it My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, be it something like the debut Crystal Castles record, some of the weird electro that was slathered in autotune that dropped through the 2000s. There are echoes of those things in this record, for sure. But looking forward and taking into account the way pop took shape across the 2010s, there are aspects of this album with its beats, with its synthesizer patches, with its use of autotune, the ranting and raving lead vocals, the storytelling that is going on across the LP, that is almost like proto-hyperpop, like very pre-PC music, very pre-100 gecs. There is definitely a progression, there's a narrative to be had, and there's an emotional rawness to Farrah's performances on this record as well. I would say it's one of the most, if not the most, significant outsider pop record of the 2010s. In many ways, this thing really does feel like more of an experience, more of a progression of sorts, than it does simply just a pile of pop songs on any other pop record. And it's because of that, this thing almost transcends the pop genre entirely, while again, forecasting some of the more experimental acts and sounds to come out of pop later in that same decade. While sure, there is a part of me that does think, hey, maybe there'd be less controversy, or maybe there'd be less questions if I put some other record at my 200 spot that everybody likes, that everybody knows. But I didn't do that, because when I thought about the final spot on my list, and I thought about what stuck out to me through the decade, there's something about this record that just kind of haunts me.
We're fighting not. We're fighting not.
Like that is just chilling to the bone. That is a Kanye West, that is a wintry Kanye West 808s and Heartbreak style auto-tuned rant going on there. There is something about Farrah's lack of musical chops and vision on this record that just allows her to create in such a raw and uninhibited way, to where she's not even like, concerned with whatever the melody vocally is supposed to be. She's just going absolutely nuts and just letting her feelings out there with no filter and no inhibitions and no worry about like, what is the musical quality of this? Is it coming together as well as like a Taylor Swift song would sound? Yeah, because she's not worried about that stuff, there is almost an artistic freedom to it that you really only end up gaining down the road after years of like practicing and studying as a musician, and you eventually come to learn like, okay, well, a lot of these rules and theories I've been learning is either just like crap, or sticking strictly to them will only end up limiting my ability to create and explore certain sounds and ideas. So I need to give some of them up, or understand like how I can work outside of them or bend them to my will effectively. Meanwhile, Farrah over here just does not give a shit. All that she knows is she's been given all these beats, she's auto-tuned as fuck, she has all these feelings, and she just needs to let it all out and go crazy. And yeah, that's why essentially I chose to put this album on my top 200 albums of the 2010s list. And I just have strong feelings about the record. I do. I think it's an interesting, special, weird fucking experience. Thank you very much for watching. Love you. See you guys in the next one. Anthony Fantano, Farrah Abraham, forever.